Hey guys, and welcome back to my podcast. My name is Ruth, and you're welcome to this amazing, awesome podcast, Learn English with Ruth podcast. Now, over the last couple of weeks, I've had to restructure my podcast to ensure that I just focus on, English tutorials, English lessons to help you develop and become better as an English speaker or as an English learner. So today's podcast, we're going to tune in on how to become better in conversations. Now, we meet people every day and we talk with or to people every day. And there is such a thing as becoming better in conversations, having an enjoyable conversation with people. One of the things that can boost your confidence is functional language. And what exactly do I mean by functional language? I mean those words, those group of words, the phrases, or that you can or you should use in conversations to make speaking go seamlessly as possible. Now, there are a lot of words in the English language, the English language vocabulary is quite broad, and as a person, you have your active vocabulary and your passive vocabulary. And so things can get a little bit messy really quickly sometimes, but I'm here to help you. Okay, so I've structured this podcast into functional languages for knowing how to disagree with people, how to express your opinions in conversations that we have with people. Sooner or later, you would have to argue, to disagree or agree with something that is being said in English. Now, offering an opinion can be difficult when it is not your first language, believe you me, and you may know exactly what you want to say in your native tongue, or you might not be sure of how to say it in the English language. Things might worry you, like you're not sure how the words will come out, you're not sure the words will come out properly, or that you might hurt someone's feelings by being too forward. Although it's easier to sit back and do nothing, you might become bored or frustrated because all you can do when you want to disagree is maybe nod your head or shake your head, especially if you have a strong opinion about something. Now, the best thing that you can do for yourself is to learn common expressions that you can use in discussions and debates. For example, you have to know the difference between when you slightly disagree with something or you strongly disagree with something. And so we're going to be looking at these expressions that can help you agree and disagree in conversations. Now, when you're stating an opinion, you can say, in my opinion, for example, in my opinion, I think the red dress goes better with the black shoes. That kind of thing. Or you can say, the way I see it, I think, he might not really be into you. So I think this is a much better way than just telling someone he does not like you. You might hurt someone's feeling or tear someone to shreds with your very forward response. So I think you can say, the way I see it. Or, if you want my honest opinion, I think you just need to calm down and take a nap. I think that is better. Or you can say, according to Michael Jackson or whatever. You can just, give your opinion by quoting someone else. Or you can say, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think, or I do not think that this house is fitting or befitting for your status or who you are. That kind of thing. And the last one is, if you ask me. So instead of saying, no, I don't like it, or just saying it all too forward, you can say, if you ask me, I think, if you ask me, it might not really be as straightforward as you think. Okay, now, if you want to ask for an opinion from someone, it can be difficult sometimes because you might be like, I don't know what to say. How do I tell him to tell me what he thinks? So here are some examples of expressions that you can use to ask for an opinion or to tell someone to, give you what they think about something. The first one is, what's your idea? So what's your idea about finance? Or what's your idea about Barack Obama? What's your idea about Donald Trump, past president? Or what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on marginalization? Or what are your thoughts on racism? What are your thoughts on saving money? The next one is, do you have anything to say about the elections that are coming? So by asking this question, you're telling me you want to hear what I have, or what I think, or what I have to say. The next one is, what do you think? Now, I think this one is very straightforward as possible. What do you think? What do you think about self-governance? Or what do you think about democracy? What do you think about blah, 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 or whatever you just want to input at the end of what do you think? The last one, I think I love this one so much. You can say, wouldn't you say that peanut butter is better than jelly? What am I saying? Okay, so now when you want to express your agreement with maybe someone gave you an opinion, or you agree with what the person is saying, instead of just nodding your head like or saying no, you can say, I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. You can also say, I couldn't agree with you more. I think I love this one. Okay. I couldn't agree with you more. That my hair is so pretty. Okay. The next one is, that's so true. That's so true. For example, someone says, according to my research, I think that this bag is going to sell better than this bag. Or you've done your own research too. You can say, that's so true. That's so true. And then there's another way. I like the next one I'm going to say. There's another way you can absolutely agree with someone's opinion. You can be like, tell me about it. You can be like, tell me about it. So I think this is like in a very friendly situation where maybe you're with friends, you're chatting, and she's like, oh my God, did you know that I almost met a guy today? And you're like, tell me about it. So it's like that kind of friendly vibe all over the place. A way of saying you agree with someone's opinion, you're expressing your agreement with what someone is saying. You know, another way is, I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that. So maybe someone sort of like almost read your mind. You're about to say something and a person says it. You can be like, I was just going to say that. You know, and these expressions that I've given so far, for expressing your agreement, for asking for an opinion, for stating your opinion, you have to use them in conversations with people. Just imagine with me that in all these conversations that you're having, you're just nodding your head or saying yes or saying no. Isn't that boring? That, like, it just makes you look like a, what now? Like you don't know what to say. It's just, the next one is expressing your disagreement. Expressing your disagreement. The first thing you can say when someone says something that you don't agree with is, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so is a nice, polite way of, well, it depends on the tone too. It's a nice way of saying, no, I don't agree with you. So instead of saying no, or just shouting, shut up, you can just say, sorry, I don't think so. I don't think the strategy will work. I don't think you should do that. The next one is no way. No way is really a strong way of saying, I disagree. I do not agree with what you're saying. I do not agree with your strategy. You know, this next one is my favorite. I beg to differ. I beg to differ. So I beg to differ is like saying, no, like I totally think the opposite of what you're thinking or what you're saying right now. So I beg to differ. I don't think it will work. I beg to differ. The next one is, I'm not so sure about this. When you say you're not so sure about something, it means you are not 100% agreeing with the person's opinion or what the person is saying. So instead of saying no or saying whatever or saying shut up, you can say, I'm not so sure about this. I've not done this before and I'm not so sure about this. Okay, now the next thing we'll look at is how do you interrupt people in conversations. Now, when someone is talking and you want to maybe add something, you want to, give a nice input or just interrupt in a nice way, you can use this expressions. Number 1, can I add something, please? Can I add something here? Instead of just saying, I think some people can be so rude that when you're talking, they don't just say nothing, to just barge into the conversation and they're like, yeah, I think it's going to work. And that is so rude. In a conversation where mature people are talking, you should actually take an excuse or say something like, these things I'm telling you before you join in the conversation. Really, so can I add something here is a good way to start. Okay, another one, I've seen this used in some American movies that I've watched, and this is it okay if I join in for a second? Is it okay that I join in for a second? So this is like asking for permission to join in the conversation, and I think this is really brilliant to do instead of just jumping in and just saying what you should. Like, it's so terrible, it's very discourteous to do so. The next one is, can I throw my 2 cents in? Brilliant, awesome. Like, can I throw my 2 cents in? It's more like, can I just add my opinion? Can I just say something? You can also use sorry to interrupt, but. Now, when you are talking and someone interrupts you and you want to let the person know that they interrupted you and you did not like what they did, you can simply say, oh, you didn't let me finish. That's really polite. Instead of just saying, why did you interrupt me? You're so rude, blah, 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 blah. You can just avoid all that and just say, sorry, you didn't let me finish. And then when someone tells you this, what you can say is, oh, I apologize. You can go on. It just makes it very courteous, makes it very formal, very polite, very comely. So, now, how do you settle an argument? When 2 people are arguing, how do you settle it? The first one is, let's just move on, shall we? You can just say this to like stop the whole argument kind of thing. Let's just move on. Let's just move on, shall we? Or you can say, let's drop it. Can we just drop it? To settle an argument, to say, okay, let's just not do this again. The next one, my favorite, is, I think we're going to have to agree to disagree. So you're like, I'm not agreeing with you, you're not agreeing with me, but we just have to let it go. I'm agreeing to disagree. Yeah. So I think this is really a nice way. And also, this one is really sarcastic and I do not recommend using it, but you can say, whatever you say, or if you say so. I think at this junction, you're like, I give up. Whatever you say, if you say so. And that is rude. And, so I do not recommend you using this to settle an argument. So today we've learned how to use expressions for agreeing and disagreeing, such as stating an opinion, asking for an opinion, expressing your agreement, expressing your disagreement, and also how to deal with interruptions, how to interrupt nicely, and how to settle an argument. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. The next episode, that is the part 2, is coming up next on Spotify and Anchor, and I'm going to see you next time.